TOA were the heroes of the Bionicle story. They're the kind of characters that pretty much every Bionicle builder has made at some point in their life. It's quick, it's easy, and it's a really fun thing to make. So let's take a look at some really well-designed TOA MOCs in today's episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series. And doing so, hopefully it'll give you a few ideas, some food for thought, and some inspiration. Let's go. Kicking things off with a very iconic and legendary MOC, this is TOA Shadow by Shadowgear 6335. So if I'm not mistaken, this MOC is close to 17 years old. Well, its original form is almost that old. You can see the original form right here on the left. It's the one with the Wenua mask. This newer form with the sweet painted skull mask, I believe this one came out in 2016. Still pretty old, actually. You know, that's the best, isn't it? Breathing new life into your old creations. And you could do the same. Maybe you could go back to your childhood memories, or any old childhood photos that you might have. You might find a really old MOC that you made when you were like 4 years old. Maybe you could update that and bring it to life with modern pieces and modern techniques. Could be a fun way to see how you've evolved and grown as a builder. Something to think about. But the design of TOA Shadow is wonderful. A creepy mask wrapped up in a nice hood. It just looks so evil. Plus he's got these little blasters that pop out of his arms. And he's fairly poseable as well. He's the best. I like that in some of these photos he also has a cane because, you know, this is actually a pretty old MOC. That's weirdly fitting for their age. Yeah, I love the rather evil look of this guy. Yeah, he's meant to be a TOA. He's meant to be a good guy. Well, at least I believe he was in the story at one point. I'm not sure how that story evolved. But hey, just because they're a good guy doesn't mean they need to look like a good guy. They can look a bit more menacing. Nothing wrong with that. Look, it's a sweet aesthetic, and this is an incredible TOA. Now over to Bofu, TOA of Plant Life, and this was built by Stub, the Bionic Man. Okay, I adore this color scheme. Dark blue and lime. You know, lime, it makes sense for a TOA of Plant Life. But dark blue, you'd expect to see that on a TOA of water. So I appreciate the builder being brave and trying something new, because in theory, this shouldn't work. But in execution, it's very pretty. It's a great color scheme. And it feels so original. But really, the best way to convey that this was a TOA of Plant Life is all these vines and plant pieces growing throughout the MOC. So clever. You get the sense that this person has so much control over their elemental power of plant life that they've just got plants growing through their body because they can. It's a sick idea. You pair that with this lovely custom mask, the way that the cheeks flare out at the bottoms, it's a very dynamic looking mask. And then they have a disc launcher that also appears to double as a large shield. You just don't see people using disc launchers on Bionicle MOCs these days. Everyone goes for a sword or a shield or a spear or a gun. What happened to a good old disc launcher? Like we can see here, it looks pretty good. Yeah, this is fantastic. Over to a very fun take on Kopaka. This is Kopaka TOA of Frostbite by Calcifer Project. Look at this, a bit of fire and flame action. Fists that are made of flames, and everything else, it maintains Kopaka's iconic look. Everything feels like he would have control over ice. You know, I guess the idea is that this ice is so cold, it burns. That's sick. And look, even if it isn't that, having a TOA that has power over fire and ice, that's always going to be frickin' cool. Now, these feet on Kopaka, they're rather interesting, using the foot pieces that came on the Baraki set Pridak. But instead of placing them like this, the way that it is on the original set, they've been rotated, and they become these strange floating feet. They look a bit more like jet engines in this context. Or perhaps they're meant to resemble icicles. Look, whatever they are, it's a good look. And Kopaka's got a bit of dark blue cloth wrapped around his neck. Something beautifully edgy about that, which, that fits Kopaka. Plus, you know, if he's chilling in cold climates, it makes sense that he'd want to rug up a little bit with some sort of scarf. We've also got his sword being turned into a much larger blade. You know, Calcifer Project, you know what you're doing. You've taken all the best aspects of Kopaka, but you've somehow made them look even better. And you've injected all sorts of new life into it with a brand new concept. Brilliant. MOCs is up next, and they have made Azuru Conniving Toa of Magnetism. I like seeing a Toa looking, well, a heck of a lot like a knight. Lots of silver armor, sleek designs, all that jazz. It reminds me of the Toa Nuva. Honestly, you could lean a little bit into that noble knight look, because that's kind of what the Toa Nuva were doing. So doing that on your own custom Toa character, it's gonna feel so Bionicle in nature. So how could you do that? How could you build a knight-inspired Toa? Well, use some of these Knight's Kingdom armor pieces, like the ones that came on this old set. I mean, as we can see on this MOC, these pieces look simply amazing on Bionicle characters. And this custom mask also helps to sell this knight look. The waist design here is also pretty cool, using some mixel joint pieces on the edges there. What a nice way to just round off the edges of the design and armor things up just that little bit more. The upper arms though, yeah, maybe they could have had a little bit more armor on them, but I enjoy this slim limb design. It looks like they're rocking some exposed sleeves. They're too cool to be fully armored. They've got to let some of that skin be exposed to remind everyone that they're hardcore. I think it's a good look. And rounding off the episode with the bravest Toa of them all, it's Motoro, and this was built by Artie Quill. Here's a bit of a side-by-side with the original version of the set and this MOC. Now, you can still see that he has the rough silhouette of the original set. They've buffed him up a little bit, but not too much. I had someone comment on an older video saying that they like the fact that Motoro as a set was a little bit more slim and skinny as a character. Because, of course, Motoro has that amazing story moment where they sacrifice their life to save the universe. And so the person who commented, they said that they felt that it was more impactful for that moment if Motoro was a very different character to your stereotypical action hero. Your stereotypical action hero, of course, is buff, strong, really powerful, big muscles. But, if they're just a smaller, skinnier dude, then it helps illustrate that being a hero isn't just about what you look like and how strong you are. It's about how you think and how you act. It's what's on the inside that makes you a hero. So yeah, I think this revamp maintains that philosophy, but introduces enough newness to the design. It's a good balance. This blaster that's built out of many different pieces, instead of just being the one piece like we see on the original set, is pretty amazing. They've captured the look of that beautifully. And how cute is the little red flag up the top? Wonderful stuff. I also like that he has a hand. These claw weapons are attached onto the wrists, instead of that just being his hand. That certainly feels a lot more practical. And speaking of practical, the MOC also appears to have an air tank on their back. And if Motoro's swimming around in the water like he is in the Bionicle story, well yeah, that's a good inclusion. And that's that. Lots of amazing Toa MOCs in today's episode of the Bionicle Inspiration series. Hopefully taking a closer look at all of these amazing creations has inspired you a little bit. What kind of Toa are you going to build next? Let me know in the comments below. Also down below in the description for this video, you'll find the submission email. If you'd like to see your MOC featured on the show, you can submit it to that email address. Include whatever photos or images or information that you think is necessary, send it my way, and I'll do my best to feature it in an upcoming episode. Also in that description, you can find links to everyone's social media. So if you liked the MOCs that I showcased today, go and check out some of their other work. Maybe leave a like, leave a follow, and go comment on their stuff, letting them know what you think of their incredible creations. But that's all for today, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.